Companies today have very good policies and programs to engage with their suppliers. From my experience in 25 years, I've seen companies not struggling with policies and structures, but struggling with having visibility of what happens with suppliers on the ground. My name is Rishi Sher Singh. I am the founder of World of Gears, and today I'll present with you some of the things we are seeing on the ground of the work we do with various supply chains in India. So our work spans across India in many places. I've taken today 3 areas where we have worked in the past 6 to 12 months. We took 3 main areas in India: the Delhi region, where we looked at an automotive supplier. Then in Cochin, the southern part of India, we looked at the food supply chain, in particular shrimp. And also we looked at Bangalore, where I live, an engineering supplier. So these 3 examples and real work on the ground, engaging with management, with workers, visiting shop floors and workplaces. And I'm happy to share those experiences with you today. There are 2 things which are emerging today: the aspect about traditional audit and human rights impact assessments. And many companies rely on traditional audits. Audits focus on compliance and documentation. It's a traditional way of doing things. A more modern way of doing things is human rights impact assessment, which is fundamentally different. As noted on the right side, it focuses a lot on engagement with people, risk to people, being on the shop floor, no pass or fail, but looking at improvements, looking at gaps, having open conversations on how to close those gaps and make things better for the people who work in the supply chains. I'm going to share with you today is like a gallery of lived realities. Our method was to move beyond documentation review and to prioritize direct human connection. We have learned that the most valuable insights do not come from paperwork. They emerge through dialogue, focus groups, through really understanding the lived realities of workers on the ground. And that is what I want to present with you today. What I have learned in the past 25 years is seeing is believing when it comes to supply chains and suppliers. Most companies see risk are only visible when companies spend time at the workplace with direct engagement with workers. To give you a practical example, let us look at a gap between perception and reality regarding worker welfare. Management, when we asked about resting spaces, perceived that there are adequate rest spaces, toilets, fully available, and there's welfare systems very active in the factory. And we looked at documents and procedures and everything was there. And then we went to the shop floor. And this is what we observed. We observed critical gaps in rest places. All rest benches were covered with scrap material. Women toilets were not adequate. And we saw these gaps, these discrepancies where management is saying something and then reality on the ground is different. And management has very good intentions of doing things. And that's why our work becomes very important, that worker experiences and management perceptions are rarely identical. I want to take another example in this factory where we visited. And as you all know, India is a country of many languages, many cultures. And so the company decided to present these policies and some boards in English. When we spoke to the workers, we realized that many of them could not understand English and cannot even read or write English. So for them, reading a signboard in English is very difficult or even impossible. So what we realized was that documentation alone is insufficient. Strong insights only emerge when observation is combined with active dialogue. And that's why talking to workers is very important, is when we see a lot of gaps happening from how the systems were designed and how they are implemented on the ground. So that brings me to a very important point, is the question is not that systems don't exist. I'm sure in your companies with your suppliers, there's a lot of systems and you have done many projects and initiatives to make sure those systems exist and those systems are implemented. The question right now, what we are seeing is How are these systems experienced by the people who use them, especially workers and people who are impacted by it? I've spent a lot of time in understanding those lived realities. And the lessons I've learned is that you need to spend the time at the workplace, observe the working conditions, directly speaking with workers, and validate any assumptions you have about the system. That can only come when you see the system on the ground and talk to people who are using it. Our second lesson addresses a common blind spot, the fragmented reality. Companies often assume that workers are the same, but the exact same workplace creates completely different experiences for different types of workers. We had this interesting example where safety shoes and foot related safety equipment was provided to workers, and when we spoke to the women workers, they shared with us that in a factory, in engineering factory, these shoes are very heavy and they are very uncomfortable to wear, and especially if you have a shift where you have to stand for long hours, it's painful to wear these shoes. I tried some of these shoes as well over the years. They are genuinely painful, and it's difficult for these workers to use these shoes because these shoes were created as standard shoes. There is a need for the management to really look at how they can provide shoes which are more adequate for long working hours, especially standing jobs which are there for machine operators. So we saw these system flaws, and I'm sure you would have seen these flaws in many other safety equipment as well, which is provided to workers on the ground. The lesson learned is not all workers are the same. If different workers have different needs, and how we can address those needs make a very big difference in the way systems are implemented. Similarly, we conducted actually a participatory exercise with contract workers, mapping out their expenses such as their dormitory fees, living expenses, food, and the money they sent back home. And we found they had highly varying levels of awareness regarding their employment engagement, salary calculations, wage slips, grievance channels. They were not aware of any of these. And then we realized that a system only works if rights holders understand it. Awareness is as critical as documentation itself. Very interesting exercise we did with workers. Our final lesson focuses on driving real change. Human rights due diligence is frequently viewed as just another audit or a compliance check. The audit mindset limits openness because people hide their problems. Meaningful improvement only begins with respectful and open conversation. This is a very simple diagram I've created from a traditional compliance mindset to an improvement-based approach. And this is based on my 25 years of practically doing this work on shop floors. And we must shift away from those traditional compliance approaches of simply finding the problem and forcing a corrective action on the suppliers, which might not be effective or which might be incomplete. As this diagram shows, the improvement approach starts with dialogue. Dialogue creates understanding, which leads to joint action plan and capacity building and a lasting change and improvement on the shop floor with your suppliers. Dialogues creates ownership, which is very important. I'm sure many of you companies sitting in Europe, in the UK and other countries would like Indian suppliers to own the improvements, and that can only be done through dialogue, and it creates an overall mindset of improvements. And so this has been a great learning in our work. So some recommendations especially for Japanese companies, and I'm sure it applies to other companies as well. This is from the work we have done in various supply chains. So number one, spend more time in the shop floor or the workplace with your suppliers. It can be done through your visits, or you can use somebody locally who can be your eyes and ears on the ground. Second is engage with diverse groups. There are women who are working in these factories, and then there are migrants who are working in these factories. There are casual workers, permanent workers. Make sure that you engage with all these diverse groups is when you'll get to know the lived reality and the effectiveness of the systems. And also test the understanding. Not merely do a compliance, but just see how people are able to use these systems like grievance channels, the personal protective equipment, etc. How are people using them in their day-to-day jobs? So number 4 is about dialogue as an engagement, as a powerful tool. Use active listening, regular engagements with workers, with your suppliers especially, and having these supplier engagement sessions, which are not audits. They are real open discussions on where are the gaps and what to do about them. And lastly, number 5 is about continuous improvement. Most importantly, not creating check boxes, but making sure that there is a plan, do, check and act, a continuous improvement cycle which is implemented on the ground with suppliers. So they might be able to put a corrective action, but what really will bring value to your engagement is suppliers improve year on year and keep improving over time. That brings me to the close of this session with you today. Is seeing is believing, is where we started. It's very important when you engage with suppliers, factories, farms, workers on the ground. Seeing creates visibility, we all know that. When you go on the ground, you discover many things, as I've shared with the examples I have discussed today. Listening creates understanding. When you listen to workers, when you listen to their problems and day-to-day challenges, that creates a better understanding of what needs to be done. I've seen sometimes workers have wonderful solutions of how to improve their workplace. Lastly, the aspect about dialogue, engagement, talking to people, suppliers, and the people involved in your supply chain makes a very big difference. That really creates improvement. And that's the way many companies I engage with are using the power of seeing, listening, and dialogue to actually bring change in their supply chain. If you are looking to engage with your suppliers in India and looking to improve them, we work with suppliers quite extensively while engaging with them, assessing them, and implementing improvement projects. Do get in touch, and I'm happy to share some notes of our projects on the ground, and happy to also have a 30-minute conversation with you on the challenges you are facing. I appreciate the work you're doing with your suppliers and supply chain, and here's wishing you the very best. And I'll be back soon with more field stories of what we're observing on the ground. Till then, good luck and see you soon.